So I had Christine sign it, and then I lost it. So I'll grab it before I leave, and I'll take it back, and I'll bring it back tonight.
Okay, it says we're live. Dad, can you refresh? I don't know if we're. Okay, you may want to mute that just to be just to make sure. Okay, can anyone see us? Hello. My name is Connor Olin. I'm the writer and director of Captain Spirit, and this man right here, Mr. Shep Lowry.
Hi.
He plays Charles Erickson in Captain Spirit, and he plays Hydra Agent Number 2 in Avengers Endgame. So
Hydra. Figured it out, huh?
I think at this point you can talk about it because it's like 90 million away from beating Avatar.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Pretty close, huh?
Yeah. So we're trying to get Ashton on. Hopefully. Okay, people are already sending in messages. Hey, first says Puppet Man, even though Puppet Man is, I don't think they're first. Nope, me. People are debating over who is first because internet, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I'm just gonna. We're really trying to get Ashton on here. We're sending him the link. I'm gonna just check here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's outside enjoying the day, and the time got away from me, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Puppet Man, no look.
So in the meantime,
first.
Okay, we're watching. But how do we get? Okay, Johnson family. So Ashton is watching with this. I sent you the link. I sent it to Bryce. But I've sent it to your email address, which I will not repeat live on the internet. But we've sent it to you multiple times at this point. I'm not sure why you're not getting it. Should we try sending it one more time?
Sure.
Okay, so in the meantime, I guess you can send in your questions. I think I'm just going to start by talking about how this movie came to be, which is basically I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. That's always been my goal. But the challenge was I could never come up with original story ideas, and I always found myself drawn to doing adaptations. And when I saw Carson's film What If for the first time, it was kind of a game changer for me because I realized you could do a fan-made property and put a lot of hard work and effort into it as a filmmaker. Because usually when you see fan films, it's just people trying on the costumes and being like, oh, look, I'm Max, I'm Chloe. And Carson's film was actually a film first and an adaptation second. So very, very good job on Ash. And then I saw Dawn, and I felt drawn to doing a story because I love Life is Strange so much. And I love the Life is Strange universe. Initially, when I first played episode 1 of Life is Strange 2, I said maybe this can be my big magnum opus. And it still might be, but if that movie would have happened, it would be a long way off in the future. It wasn't until I replayed The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit when I realized that, hey, this would make a really good short film because it's all set in one house on one day with 2 people. And the simplicity, but very effective. And I wrote the script in under 24 hours, and then I showed my parents and I showed my therapist, and I was like, do you think this can work? Do you think I can make this movie happen? And they said, go for it. And all these months later, I still can't believe that it actually worked. Thanks to you. Thank you so much, everyone who has liked the movie. Okay, I'm going to look at reviews now. Ashton's not here. We're really, really trying. Ooh, they sent his wife's address. You want to... Okay, we'll try that. We'll try to see if that works.
We got some questions coming in.
Okay, huge fan of the short film. Make more Life is Strange, maybe, but a lot of effort is put into it, so it's not super easy. How much time is put into this? Says Puppet Man. So I spent like let's see. I wrote the script in December, and then it came out May. So pretty much 5 to 6 months in total.
I think you reached out to me in early January, and I was preparing to I was on set doing something. I'm doing another movie, and when I got back, we communicated on this, and then I agreed to do it in the middle of January.
How did you sign up from your perspective? What was that like?
I worked with my acting coach 2 times a week for the 6 weeks prior to shooting with you.
Wow.
And to work in the character, because for me, the character is opposite of who I am as a father, but it also allowed me to open up a range for me that I wasn't sure that I could do. And the other side of it was it gave me good experience in learning how to understand and break down a script, understand the relationship between the characters, the situation, who, what, where, what, when, and how, and why. Yeah. And then take that and then learn the backstory, and without ever looking at the adventures of Captain Spirit.
Yeah.
Because I know that you had asked me not to do that, so I could make it kind of my own.
Have you seen anything now?
I still have not watched it.
Okay.
No.
You could, and you could check out anything Life is Strange, and I recommend Carson's films. They're very well done.
I know my wife has seen it, and she had mentioned to me that the resemblances between me and Charles and Ashton and Chris were very strong. And she had also thought that the dialogue and the actions and the behaviors and the body movements were very similar to what she had witnessed in some of the things.
That's amazing.
So that was very well put together.
Okay, so Muhammad has said, have you ever thought of making a short film of the Walking Dead game? I actually haven't played a ton of Telltale stuff, but I should. Doing a zombie apocalypse type story might be a bit difficult, and as I'll get to in the future, I'm not so sure.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
I forgot a number.
Oh, sorry, Ashton. Okay, we're really trying, guys. Let's just hope this happen. But
2. So
right now, I am attending Nashville Film Institute, which is a very prestigious filmmaking school in Nashville, Tennessee. And I just started a couple weeks ago, like the week before the movie launched, or 1 or 2 weeks before the movie launched. And I'm very, very happy there. And it's going to take up a lot of my time. I'm going to be focused on making student films. And that's my top priority, to learn how to become a better filmmaker. And I don't know, in terms of my next project, I'd like to do more fan films, but I'd also like to do stuff that can get in festivals. That's always nice. So I think I don't really know where I stand on future adaptations. It might be a while before you see something from me. I don't know if you can take the movies that the movies that you make in Film Academy and present them on YouTube, or the student films. I don't know if that's like something that can be easily shared. Okay. Why was the Hot Dog Man not in the short? Hot Dog Man was in the short. In fact, I actually have a lot of props right here. So I brought a bunch of stuff on from the set that I thought would be fun to. Do you want
me to hold something for you?
Oh, okay, so I got it. So this is one of them. I drew all of these myself. This was a Hot Dog Man poster made with marker, work hard, mustard big. Hot Dog Man is everywhere in the game. It's sort of a fun in-joke that I guess is this universe's version of SpongeBob or whatever. And I wanted to just make the reference, but put it in the background and not draw a lot of attention to it, not make it a big part of the story. I do think it makes more sense to be in Captain Spirit and in Life is Strange 2 because it has a lot of focus on child characters. But yeah, Hot Dog Man is not going to like take over or anything. I just wanted to like have the reference. And there's a few other things. I don't know if people ever noticed. Oh, I may have missed it. Yes. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a lot of stuff that was in the background. This was a drawing I did from like a superhero coloring book I found. And then this, the water eater, if you're paying attention in the laundry scene, you can see this on the water heater. So I did include this reference, even though I didn't include the full scene. And then I spent days drawing this, and it's in one shot. I don't know if you even saw this, but this is the map to buried treasure that Chris has in his room. There's a whole like side quest with it. I spent a lot of time replicating everything. The only change that I made, if you look at where Reynolds' house would be, I drew 2 wolves as a little reference to the Diaz brothers, which Chris wouldn't have drawn that anyway, but it was a fun in-joke to make.
Your Easter egg, right?
Yeah, I wanted to include references to the game that people like would not have, just references to the stuff that we couldn't outright say. And some of it is barely in the movie. Like, I spent a lot of time making a photoshopped photo of you as a younger basketball player, and that you can like not see at all. So wait, what is it? Huge mom champion is what's her name? Never. You're really great at it. Good job. Okay, so
I agree. I thought Connor did a great job in this
Yeah.
in this short film.
So here, okay, Chris's list to Santa Claus is here, and then this. We're really trying to. It's a shame, Ashton. I'm sorry. We're trying. Is it going to work soon? I should look at my phone probably.
I have.
Okay, but
Just
this.
check.
So this is the Power Bear or whatever. This was in Chris's tree house, and I was playing with this just before today when I was bringing stuff on, and the eye patch broke. So that's great. Because Chris has a toy with an eye patch because we didn't know that was foreshadowing for episode 3. Any Life is Strange fans? But here's what's really interesting about this teddy bear. We didn't realize when we bought it, but it has this like movable face where you can do this. Which I showed this to Ashton. Ashton was really freaked out. It's like, I don't know. Some of these toys are just weird. And speaking of Ashton, which I hope is not all we do, because we're going to actually bring him on. But
Power Bear.
yes.
City M Productions.
Oh, yes. So they made the other Life is Strange movies, inspired me. Absolutely Intention to Heal. Number of Easter eggs you put in was super impressive because they were never overpowering. You built the world beautifully. Thank you so much. I'm assuming that's Carson. It might be Shelby, but your movies mean a lot to me. And can I just say right now, I'm going to make it a personal goal of mine to one day get to collaborate with City M Productions. I don't know how that's going to be possible because I live in Tennessee and you guys are in Iowa, but anything I can do. I've made the trip before. I'll be willing to make it again to get to work with you on some movie in any capacity. Because I love you guys, and I'm super looking forward to Ingrid. Like, that's my #1 most anticipated movie of this year. So, But anyway, okay. So Ashton's parents run a karate school for kids, and Ashton is legit really good at karate. I wish I would have like thrown in some like extra bonus moves for like flips or kicks for Captain Spirit to do or something just so he can show off. But he gave me they gave me this for me to try out, and somewhere there's a video of me like slapping this board in half. And I don't know. So Captain Spirit does karate apparently. And the only other thing I have left is this copy of Ashton's script, which he left here. So, I mean, you don't need it anymore, but he accidentally left it here. And
Actually, I don't know how to get them on.
oh no. Okay. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. I really want to get Ashton on. I really want you guys to talk to Ashton. Carson currently, thank you. It is so possible to work together someday. You know how to get a hold of me. Thank you. Oh my God, it makes me feel so warm inside. So this is a copy of the script, and what I did with Ashton's copy was I removed all the swear words so that he could focus it. He was fine with learning the swears on set, with hearing the swears on set, but he didn't want to have to read them. And also in any scenes when Captain Spirit is like talking to someone in his head, or like, oh, ground is moving. What do we do? I don't know. I made it so that it was lined in terms of the different characters. So. And you can also see like the drafts of how I wrote this. I didn't make a lot of changes in the first draft, but there were a few minor things that were tweaked and a few minor things that changed on set. Well, I have not let you talk at all.
That's all right. I'm enjoying listening.
Okay. So while we wait,
I probably should have brought my script. How I tore it up.
Oh no! Like you took so many notes in your script though, which amazed me. Like he had just lined everything with every little inflection. Like he was going all Daniel Day-Lewis for this role. I cannot.
I didn't ask you to call me Charles the whole time.
Yeah.
So you can call me Mr. President if you'd like.
Yeah. But tell them what you did to act drunk, because this would amaze me when you had to act drunk.
So one of the things that I learned while I was on a different set, and I was working with one of the actors, and he told me a quick way to act as if appear drunk is to do spins. So I would stand up and start doing like this, and I would do spins and close my eyes and roll them back in my head to simulate a vertigo. And then I would begin the scene. And so when I stood up right before we shot, I was spinning and spinning and spinning. So when I would lay down and I stood right back up, I naturally my equilibrium was off, and I fell.
Yeah.
And it caused me just to naturally go. And it would all allow me to my eyes would be a little glossy, as well as my words a little bit slurred.
Okay, so now Dad's still trying everything he can. We've never done this type of thing before with Google Hangout. We've like they sent you his wife's email address, so it should work.
Tell him I'm just sending the link via an email.
Can you like change the tab so I can see the questions coming in?
Okay.
I'm just making sure I don't miss anything. Send us a link. We're trying. We are really trying. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm sorry this is not how I wanted it to happen. Shelby, can I just say, I asked Carson and Shelby for any help because I know that they did this when they were doing live streams for Dawn. And Shelby made a whole video where she talked about how to properly do this. So thank you so much, Shelby. That means a lot to me. It is really, really amazing that you two could do this. Okay, what else?
TKD carry.
I'm never gonna run out of things to talk about, but I don't want to get on such a tangent.
Why don't you talk about the audition process and how you found it?
Okay, so I sent out auditions for this like probably earlier than I should have done because I was not that far into pre-production. And the moment I knew that this movie was 100% going to happen and this wasn't one of my crazy projects that gets started but never gets finished was when I posted the auditions and Roman George liked it on Instagram. Roman George is the child actor who voices Daniel in Life is Strange 2. And I'm like, well, I don't want to let down Daniel. Is he here?
I think it worked. Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay. I don't know if he's showing up on the...
He's gonna meet his.
I think it worked. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Now, can you mute the speakers on your end, Ashton? Because we're getting a lot of reverb here. Now, can you mute the speakers on your end? Should not have done that with a lot of paper in my hands.
All right, so go ahead and.
So, hello, Ashton. How's everything with you? Okay, I know he's talking.
Good. How are you?
Hello, Ashton. Yeah. How's everything with you? Are you still getting reverb? That's. Yeah, I know he's talking.
Good. How are you?
Hello. This is really confusing. Okay. We'll find a way for it to work. You're still getting reverb. That's.
I get it like 5 times.
Really confusing. We'll find a way for it to work. You're still getting reverb. That's. Okay. Okay. Do you hear what I'm saying now?
Kind of. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. It's a little bit
Delayed.
There's a delay. There's like a 2 or 3 second delay, which shouldn't affect things too much, but
And then give him time to answer.
a little bit delayed. There's a delay. There's like a 2 or 3 second delay, which shouldn't affect things too much. But
Ask him a question.
okay,
give him time
so
to answer.
I haven't been asking, so I'm going to ask you a question now, and that is, how did you get in this movie? Okay. How did you get? I'm going to ask you a question now, and that is, how did you get in this movie? Okay.
It's like I keep getting the same voice, the same like thing over and over again.
Dad's trying to fix.
I got nothing, buddy. He's got to mute.
Oh, okay, Ashton. If you can hear this, I want you to use headphones. Can you get headphones so that you can like listen to this without it reverbing? Okay.
Okay, why don't we go back to you?
Okay. So we're gonna go back to me now, and Ashton's still trying to work everything out. I showed a bunch of props earlier. He was watching. The one thing I didn't show was this. This is the actual shirt. And when we first got it, it was too big. Like we got it in 2 different sizes, one for me and one for him. But the one that was his size had the wrong logo on it. It had like some punk band on it. So this is actually the one that was meant for me. We took it in a little bit, and luckily I'm very, very skinny, so Ashton could wear it without too much of a problem. And we also have the cape. I had actually wanted to give this stuff to Ashton, but Mom said, no, you got to keep this for yourself as a souvenir.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Ashton went out and bought himself his own shirt, which is I'm very happy that he did. Okay, so can you hear me now, Ashton? Is everything coming in okay?
Yes, we figured out the problem because we had the YouTube and then the Google Hangouts separate, so it was like 2 voices.
Okay. So everything's working out fine now. So my first question to you, anyone? Okay. And if people send in questions to Ashton, by all means. But first, I'm going to ask you, how did you get involved in this project?
Well, I did an audition. Wait, how I got involved or you?
I'm curious to hear your version of it because I know, but I want to hear from your perspective.
Well, I have played Captain Spirit before. I mean, I haven't played it, but I've heard about it. And I like the Life is Strange series because I've watched like some of it.
Well, not too much. A lot of it is pretty mature and pretty heavy.
Yeah, I've watched like not that much of it. But and then I did an audition for you guys, and then I think I did a callback. Did I do one? Yeah, no, we did a reading together like 3 or 4 times, and then we went to the set.
Yeah. So I sent out auditions for this, and initially I had sides for people to read, but no one actually read them, which was fine because I could get a real sense of them from the headshots that they sent in, and also some of them had not resume, but
Real?
video. Some of them had
A reel.
a reel. Some of them had a reel. And Ashton, he had a clip of a short film that he did called The Lion and the Gecko.
Yes.
Yes. Which you were dressing up like a superhero in that and bouncing around. And I'm like, that's Chris. That is Chris. He is so I contacted Bryson because he lived in North Carolina and I wasn't sure if it would be able to work out. But I spent the next couple of weeks contacting Bryson and is like, look, I'm pretty sure Ashton is the one we want. I don't think we're going to get a better Chris than him. And luckily, everything worked out in the end.
That's been the scariest or funnest part of the shooting.
So what was the most fun part of this film shoot for you?
The most fun part was seeing all the people there and just being on set. I just really like to be on set.
Yeah. So my house is actually a lot bigger than it looks in the film because that's where we shot it. But there's a whole section that we don't see. And we had like the snack set up and we had the PlayStation 4 set up. And in between scenes, Ashton would be there just chilling with his dad because he was on set. And every time I came over, he was playing a different game, he didn't stick with anything. He just... At one point, he was playing the actual Captain Spirit, and I wish I could have gotten a photo of that, but it was like really dark, and it wouldn't have worked. But
why don't you tell him the story of how he jumped off to the air mattress?
Oh, so you want to talk about?
Scared, yeah.
Do you want to talk about how you filmed the scene where you fall off?
Okay, so there was 2 scenes. There was 2 parts to it. So one part was that I walked up the ladder and I slipped down the stairs, and then I turned my stomach to the thing, and then we cut it. And then the second scene was me, or the second part was me falling down to a mattress, which was scary. And then the third part was me in a this green box for the green screen, so that it would look like I was flying, and then I would fall to the ground. And that was really fun to do that.
I remember when we set up the mattress, you didn't want to do it at first. And then after we couldn't get you off, you kept bouncing off over and over.
Was there a part of the movie that he was surprised at? The songs, the musical of it?
I'll ask that in a second. But just to let y'all know, we had his dad there the whole time. And when we filmed that scene, we were really nervous that like something was going to go wrong, and his dad's right there. We're like, just trust us. We're going to be okay. Nothing bad's going to happen. But if you do your own, I knew you could do your own stunts because I've seen the videos of you doing karate. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when you saw the movie on YouTube, was there a part that was like surprising for you? What was it like to see the movie?
It was really good. I didn't think that the part that, well, I didn't expect it, the part where I was like falling down. I thought that was like really good. I didn't know what to expect because I've never seen that. And like, it was just crazy for me to be like falling down. And I was just like, whoa, whenever that happened. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah. So did you like have a special, unfortunately, we would have loved it if you could have come to the physical premiere, but sadly that just wasn't doable because you were traveling. But when you watched it for the first time, did you just watch it on YouTube or did you put it up on the TV? Or?
We just watched it on YouTube for the like 2 times, and then the third time we put it on the TV.
Has your whole family seen it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any? What about your friends at school? Like, there's some dark stuff in there, but have they all seen it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So let's see. I'm waiting. No one's sending in questions, which is really weird.
I have a question.
How do you get the questions in Google Hangouts?
Well, there's a side like people are. There's like a little area where there's a live chat, and people like have been sending in questions, but I guess everyone's thought of all the questions. So Dad, you said you had a question.
Well, a lot of the comments on the YouTube, and maybe you could talk about close to 5,000 views within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Have talked about the scary moment between the son and the dad. And I don't know if, since you have both actors here now, can you talk about that final scene?
So I'm going to start by asking Ashton, what was it like for you to film that scene when Dad yells at you?
I thought that it was hard to cry because I knew that it wasn't like real, but then I had to think to myself that it was real, and that's how it made me cry. But then like now every time we watch a movie and it has like a little cuss word in it, my dad's like, well, if you get it, ever since you got it yelled at in your face in a movie, you're okay to watch it in a movie.
Oh, that's true. And what about you? What was it, Shep? What was it like for you to go get there as an actor and film that scene?
It was pretty challenging because I needed a few minutes before we did it, so I had to make sure I talked to Bryson, Ashton's dad, let him about it, and talk with Ashton about it and how I was prepping for it. And then I kind of left a couple of things out to shock him, just enough to put a scare on his face when I began the dialogue and then the monologue, and then pretty much dropping a bomb on the boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very emotionally challenging for me. I'm glad we only did it a short number of times.
Yeah, it was like it was the last scene we shot. And I knew I wanted to save it for the end. And after we did it, we said, okay, it's done. Let's have a wrap I would love to have a wrap party, but we just took a photo. We were all pretty tired and wanted to go home.
But there was a question for you, Ashton. It says, how hard was the scene where the dad yelled at you?
I think that's the question we just we just did. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. How did you get the idea to make this short film?
Well, I talked about that at the beginning, that I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and I find myself drawn to adaptations because I'm not very good at coming up with original stories and making them work. But one thing I can talk about is some of the changes that I made. For example, the monologue at the end was the reason I wrote it that way is I wanted in the game it's very quiet and it's not as big of a deal, but he basically just says, oh, why did you have to, if it wasn't for you, mom would still be here. And I thought it was better to have it all come out in a very explosive way to sort of build to it a bit more. Plus I kind of like writing monologues, so the way Shep did it, I felt a lot of sympathy to the character. And a lot of people commented who were fans of the game, when we see Charles again in Life is Strange 2 proper, episode 2, a lot of people said, oh, why is he different? Why is he acting so much nicer than he was in Captain Spirit? I don't think that's poor characterization. I think it's just he was having a bad day and now he's having a slightly better day. And now he's really trying his best to make it up to his son and trying. I think that Charles is genuinely remorseful. And I feel like this version of Charles can very easily go to the Charles that we saw in the game. Although,
well, I tried to do Charles in the way of an arc, where you saw him in the morning, very happy and go lucky and jovial with the boy, and kind of take it like this, and then all of a sudden he starts to come down, and he starts coming down, and then he just really hits the bottom, and then when he falls to his knees and realizes, oh my God, what did I do? I didn't mean it. So to me, that would be an easy transition to the next chapter, where he's trying more. The boy's still guarded, but he's trying more and being nicer and realizing that he needs to be a better dad because he's now failing his wife and his son.
Yeah, he really, and just for all you, okay, I'll get to that question in a second, but just for all of you fans of the game who were wondering how, I got the best ending. Nothing bad happened to Chris. Chris and Daniel had a good relationship, and I think like if we were to see this story continue, I think Chris. The one thing that might be a little bit different than canon is Chris might be not as willing to forgive his dad, and that might be a bit of a rockier time. And also Chris and Daniel would spend more time together because those two are so precious together in the game. And that actually segues perfectly into my next thing, but I got to answer these questions. So were there any scenes that took multiple takes that you just wanted to get different angles, or was it really hard to get? I know we did a lot of multiple takes for different scenes. The green screen bit was hard. The scenes on the couch were difficult. I don't know if there's difficult. Yeah, the kitchen, there was a lot of different lighting setups in the kitchen. And I'm working with these somewhat professional people that work at NFI and have done commercials and are trying to get it to look just right. And as a first-time director, my job was pretty much to get out of everyone's way. I found. Oh, and then York Industries. I liked how the film ended all of a sudden, but why was Daniel not there after all? I read you wanted him in. Okay, so this is a big thing that we need to address. Why is there no Sean and Daniel in the movie? I really wanted there to be a Sean and Daniel in the movie, and the reason they're not there is because we couldn't find an ethnically appropriate child actor to play Daniel. We looked. We really, really looked. And there was a time when we almost had a young boy who was ready to do it, but what we found out was that his parents, like he was a foster kid, and his parents knew he had been through a lot of really tough stuff, and they didn't want him to be in a movie and then have to see potentially have some really bad memories come up. So I respect their decision, but still, we really looked hard to find the right kid. And the thing is, we couldn't look that far for the kid because literally his job is go over here for 5 seconds, stand and wave. And I would have loved for Daniel to have been in the movie, and I really tried. Even after we finished shooting, we were still like, is there any way we can get one more shot? Is there any way we can find the kid? We considered every possible outcome. But in the end, I feel like this was the best way to do it, to end it on somewhat of a mystery. So, yeah, I think that answers that. Okay, I'm trying to think of what else.
So a lot of people have been talking about the authenticity to the from the posters to everything else. Do you want to talk about that, or do you feel you've addressed that?
In authenticity, in what way? Like, in terms of it looks like a professional movie, or
no, the hidden images and the bear and every little detail that was so specific to the.
Well, to me, if there's one thing that really resonates about Life is Strange in general, it's authenticity. And even though we have these stories where characters have supernatural abilities, it feels really real and really grounded. Like this could happen. The first game is largely the story of a teenage girl coming back to a place where she grew up and wanting to form memories and connections. And her ability to rewind time is sort of, you can argue it's symbolic of her wanting to go back and wanting to, and having so many regrets. And the superpower is sort of used to reveal the character's weakness and to say something about that. And in the second game, it's a big out there story, but really it's the story of these two boys who are forced to grow up fast after their father dies. And it's dramatic and it's heavy and there's supernatural stuff in it, but it feels really authentic, and all the details in Life is Strange 2. I love Life is Strange 2 so much. Every detail feels nothing is accidental. Everything lets us know more about the characters and who they are as people and how their past experiences have changed them. And so in this, what kind of sped enough of the movie there. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You got to read it out loud. Nobody knows.
Hello, Connor. It's me, one of the administrators of Bra Life is Strange and Instagram. I spread enough of the movie there. Thank you so much. We've almost hit 5,000 views in 2 weeks, and that's amazing.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Not knowing much about the game, was Daniel supposed to be Mrs. Reynolds' grandson?
Yes. So Daniel and Sean are the grandchildren of Mrs. Reynolds. Like Mrs. Reynolds had a daughter, Karen, who married a Mexican man, Esteban, and they had like mixed race children.
Okay.
And the general premise of Life is Strange 2 is that their father, the Mexican man, was killed by a Caucasian police officer in a police shooting. And after the trauma of seeing this triggered something in the younger brother, Daniel, which led to him having telekinetic powers, which now the two brothers are sort of trying to run from the police and deal with their grief. And Sean has to raise Daniel to be, Sean has to try and protect Daniel and also raise him to be good and to use his powers for good. And I recommend looking up Eurogamer Life is Strange 2. That's a really good playthrough of it.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that I liked the music selection was awesome.
Yes.
And
we're very happy about the music selection.
And even though Daniel wasn't in it, with the capturing the suspense at the end of him falling and him looking and going, giving the shock look and then it kind of fading, left it open. And I thought that was a nice transition since you weren't able to find the Daniel.
Yes, that's very good. Ashton, I haven't let you talk for a while. Is there anything you want to say? What was the hardest part about playing Chris?
The hardest thing about playing Chris was having a drunk dad, and being scared of him. But I think that my character was scared of him because whenever he gets drunk, he would abuse me, and that was hard for me to be scared of him.
Yeah. And one thing I changed was that in the game, we saw a lot more of the back and forth between the good and the bad of Charles. And in the script, I tried to make it more of an arc where it starts here and goes down.
Yeah.
But a lot of people hate Charles, and it's like, Charles is the worst. I feel like Charles has a lot of room for improvement, but I feel he does genuinely love Chris, and that the relationship can be mended. It just is going to take some sort of outside force.
Mm-hmm.
Well, having a father that was verbally abusive and somewhat physically abusive, I had a little inspiration on that. I hate to say it from that perspective, but I did.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I did. And so my brother and I joke, and I'm sure he's probably not watching this. I don't see he's 5 now, but he and I joked about my inspiration to do this film. And even though looking back at it now, I do kind of get the idea of how Chris may have felt from when I unloaded on him, because those words, not all of them were, but a lot of the words and the curse words were how I was spoken to quite a bit. And so it was very interesting to be the one delivering that and to a young boy, because I could never possibly imagine doing that to my own son, no matter what the circumstance was.
I did not know any of that, and I feel like a jerk for making you go through that.
No, don't be. No, I was not drinking real beer. I was drinking apple juice, and we had a bunch of Heineken bottles and Yingling bottles we filled with apple juice.
Okay, so this is to everyone that says, do you think you'll expand any more on this specific project, or are you happy to leave on this positive experience and spread out to different projects? I'm not really sure, like, in terms of, is Life is Strange 2 going to happen? Is a feature film with Sean and Daniel and all the characters coming back? Because I would definitely, it's something I've been thinking about a lot, but it would obviously be a very, very huge project. And I don't want to say anything definitive until all 5 episodes are out. I could definitely see working with Shep and Ashton again. Like if I asked you to return and play this character again, would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely. But it'd take me a while to grow out my beard again, because
Yeah.
I'm a slow growing beard, but I would absolutely love to do it again.
And what about you, Ashton? If we wanted to see the continuing adventures of Chris, would you ever be open to that?
Yes.
I just got to do one thing though for me, Ashton, is that Chris has got to put some martial arts moves on his drunk dad. Put him in check.
Okay, that.
Connor, you want to talk a little bit about the crew and Silas?
Oh yes, the crew. So Silas Phillips, who used to teach at Nashville Film Institute, he had worked with my dad on a project because my dad works in commercials, and I reached out to Silas and was like, hey, would you consider maybe doing this short film based on Captain Spirit, a video game? And it turns out he was actually a big fan of Life is Strange and Captain Spirit, and he knew the game and was eager to help as a fan. Not only did he agree to do the movie for free, but he got a lot of his friends who are professionals to come and help on the movie as well. I cannot thank him enough for that. It is so cool that he decided to do this. And we got Nick Madrid and Garrett Bogar, who were doing assistant camera. We got Karch Abramson, who was doing the sound. Savannah Taylor, who was doing hair and makeup. And those were the main ones, but there was a lot of other people that helped bring this movie to life and make it a reality. And then even after that, people that have helped spread the word about it. That is so good. In terms of my next project, I don't know if it's going to be a while, because I'm at Nashville Film Institute and I'm making student films. And I think stay subscribed to me on Instagram, because I might post some cool stuff and I might post some fan stuff, but it's going to be a while before I do anything this big. So just be aware of that. Okay. 4:46. So we still have a little while to go. I think I want to run until 5. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to think.
I don't know. You want to thank Go West for the...
Yes, Go West. You gave us the amazing...
maybe?
Of course, my mom.
Dad?
Yeah. If not for you, I wouldn't be here. But in all seriousness, my family, I do not take any of this for granted. I realize that I'm in a very fortunate position to be making films, and that a lot of young filmmakers out there are not. I'm very fortunate that I got Ashton and Shep to do this. And I will say, even though I made it the film with Ashton and Shep, and I would work with them again, I do want to branch out. And when I make movies in the future, they won't all be about straight white men. I do want to tell more diverse stories with more diverse people. And as a storyteller, I know that I can do that. And That's always what I want. I want to tell stories that move people and get them to reconsider things in their own life. That's the most powerful thing that a story can do. And that's what the first Life is Strange did to me, and I hope what Life is Strange 2 is going to eventually do to me when the final episode comes out.
Now, one character that you haven't mentioned is Miss Reynolds. Can you talk a little bit of, just so she can get her creds?
So, Miss Reynolds is played by an actress named Jolyn High. She was not the first person I had in mind for the role. I was looking into an actress named, actually, I don't know if I should say her name. She was an elderly actress, and she had a pretty impressive B-roll. When I went to contact her, she was impossible to contact because she kept saying over and over, I don't respond to this thing anymore because it's not my thing. Go reply to me at this other address. And yet the first address is the only thing she would ever reply to. So I think she was a little bit confused, and she just took forever to get back to me. And eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to have to look elsewhere. But I found Jolyn High, and she did a great job. I didn't tell her any of the backstory about her character from episode 2 because she really didn't need to know any of that. All she needs to know is she's a concerned neighbor. I like that she mentioned my husband, Steven, and my 2 grandchildren. One of them is your age. Like, that's enough of a reference to Sean and Daniel. I almost feel that if I had 2 boys to play Sean and Daniel, I would just want to make the whole movie about them. I would want to take away from Chris's story, and that's not what this is about. I'm okay. Is there anything? Also, just in case any of you are wondering about what choices I made in episode 3 in regards to romance, I ship Sean with Lila because Cassidy is not stable and is not going to offer enough stability for Sean and Daniel in the future, and Finn is a bad influence. So just putting that out there, that's where I stand on the ships.
Before you sign off, do you want to?
Okay. Now, so Ashton, how do you feel about how much tension this movie has gotten? Because it's gotten a lot of attention.
I think that I love it. How like I have 5,000 views, and then I think it was 5,000, right?
It was like almost 5,000 when last I looked, but it's
whenever I looked, it was like 4,000 or something. And then like in the first day, it was like for the first 2 days, not even 48 hours, it was already at 1,000. Like I don't think anybody couldn't have. I don't think that Captain Spirit couldn't have gotten that many views if nobody put the word out there. So I'm really appreciated. I really appreciate all the people who put it out there.
Yeah, I know I posted the link and a little summary on my Facebook page, and then my son and daughter also posted it and shared it on their Facebook pages to open it up. And I've gotten some feedback on my page that they liked it. Yeah. We're surprised to see me like that.
My mom and dad posted it on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and emailed it.
Okay. One person says, actually, Talent Girl 333, are there any funny behind the scenes stories that you can share? And we have a few. I wanted to have this as a blooper in the reel, but I couldn't find a way to make it work. And that is when we're filming the scene when Chris is in the car and he's going to step out onto Mantroid's planet. There was one take we did where Ashton accidentally honked the horn, and it was really loud, and we were all freaking out.
And I also this room. Maybe Ashton wants to talk about the flying bugs.
We're doing this in the same room we shot the green screen in. Do you remember the bugs that day?
Oh yeah. There was like 15,000 bugs. Yeah.
Every time we take just more and more bugs. And a lot of funny stories. I think you swore once on set, and it really took everybody off guard. We're like, we don't want this. And I will ask you this, Ashton. I'm assuming that you saw Avengers Endgame. Did you happen to notice Shep Lowry? Were you paying attention to him at all?
No, I didn't. I was like, what character were you playing?
So I play the SHIELD Hydra agent in the scene with Robert Redford and Robert Downey Jr. So when they're going down the Stark Tower elevator and they come out when they're back in 2012, I'm walking to the right side of Robert Redford as we're walking up, and I'm the one who grabs Robert Downey Jr. and holds him until he falls down.
I have a picture of that somewhere. And can I have my phone?
Yeah.
I think at this point it's probably safe to share.
Yeah, you can show it. I posted him on Facebook, and I have the video of it as well.
I don't know if you want to tell the last funny story. In pre-production, when Ashton was crying.
Yes.
And
so the first table read we did was just the actors reading the lines without really trying to act them, which is what you expect out of a first table read. The second table read, though, Shep delivers his big monologue. We're all kind of in awe of him. And then we look over to where Ashton is, and there are real tears in his eyes. And we're like, oh my God, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine.
He said, I'm acting. I remember that too.
And then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm really concerned that like now people are going to see you crying in the movie and be like, what did you do to that poor child actor to get him to cry like that? We didn't do anything. He's just that good.
Yeah, so here's it's right there. It's one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can put that up, but
so that's him on the left there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't pay attention to that.
And then here he is again.
Oh, wow. You got to see Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I did.
Did you have any lines originally?
I originally had a line, and Thor took the line. The line was in the scene. When the case goes skidding across the floor. I'm supposed to look up and go, "Where's the case?" And I look around, and then the rest of them kind of get startled and look for the case. And then they asked Chris Hemsworth to do the line, and so they asked him to do the line after he put the hammer on Tony Stark's plate to kind of give him a little shock, that was all ad-libbed during the scene. And then they asked him to say, "Where's the case?" And so they went with that instead. They had him stand up and look around, "Where's Loki?" But that's the scene right as he went down. Stark went down. I've got him right there with Redford and Chris Hemsworth, and Stark's in right.
And speaking of ad libs on set, there weren't a ton of them. There were a few that came up with in pre-production. Like when Chris is waking you up and you're like, "Well, honey," that was your idea.
That was my idea to switch it out from him to as I was dreaming about my wife, and then looking back at him, going, "Oh, okay, it's just you."
Yeah.
To go back to my disappointment.
And also, when Chris is in his treehouse and he accidentally rips the tape off, that was not scripted. That happened on set, and Ashton just rolled with it and put the tape back on, which I like because it shows that like things are broken in his life and he's trying to put it back together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. I was going to tell you that on Avengers Endgame, there was another scene that I was in that didn't make it. So we'll see if it makes it into the deleted reel when it comes out on DVD. But no, this was a lot of fun to do, and it was an honor to be a part of it.
Yes. Okay, what was the one other thing there was something else I was going to say and then I forgot about it. Here's something I can talk about. When we were filming the breakfast scene, this was a 2-day shoot, and that was the first thing we shot on day 2. You came over to the house, and I was like, okay, so we're going to start by filming the breakfast scene. Have you already eaten, Ashton? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, this is going to be hard. And he was like, no, I'm fine. So we're all going around figuring out who's going to make the eggs, and Mom and Dad are busy. So Shep ends up making the eggs, and method actor. He cooks the eggs, and I hear from Ashton that the eggs were actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're the best eggs I've ever had.
Oh, I'm glad you liked them.
Yeah.
You have a question.
Oh, how did you get him to cry? You told him the spoilers to Endgame.
I hope you would. Well, the spoilers have been okay to say by now. I was told that I could talk about it now.
Yeah.
In my school, the spoilers, if you told someone, you would.
Yeah. But I knew that Robert Redford was in the movie before anyone else did because he told me. But anyway, so we're filming the breakfast scene, and we make way more eggs than you see in the scene because we had like a bunch of backup eggs so we could do repeat takes. So Ashton just keeps wolfing these eggs into his mouth. After every take, I'm like, "Are you okay? Do you need to take a breath?" And he's like, I'm fine. So he just wolfs down like 3 or 4 eggs. I forget how much it is, and is totally fine. Then the next scene, he's running around and jumping on the bed, and I'm like, how do you still have the energy to do this? A few hours later, we break for lunch, and he somehow still has room for more food. Where does it all go, Ashton?
Talon Girl asks, how did you get him to cry? I yelled in his face, and I put a couple additional curse words and a few other lines into the monologue that I think he wasn't prepared for
Mm-hmm.
on the first time out when we did it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how I was able to shake him enough to cry. But he also cried on his own very well too.
Yeah. Which was interesting because early on in pre-production we were going to use teardrops and put them on his face, and then we found out we didn't need them because he's just that good.
Yeah.
I always got to be hesitant when praising a child actor, because with child actors, when they get a lot of praise, it can go to their head very easily. But just so make sure that your parents like keep you grounded and everything like that, because
Bryson's listening.
yeah.
Okay, God.
So I think we're done. If anyone has any more questions, now's the time to ask them. I feel like we talked about everything. In case people are wondering about the costume, why I chose that particular costume, it was just based off the choices I made in my initial playthrough. The mask was done by Savannah Taylor, our makeup artist, who also did the bruise. It was very realistic, a bit more than I wanted actually, but I didn't want to tell her no. And he did Shep's hair in addition to that. I guess the final question I have is for both Ashton and Shep, but I'll start with Ashton. What are you planning on doing after this?
Well, I just got a couple more auditions for a couple. I got one for a big TV show and one for a short film. So I hope that I get those two, one of those two, and I'm just gonna keep sending in auditions. And I have a tournament called Battle of Atlanta in Atlanta. I think after school, because next week on Monday I have EOGs. So.
And what about you?
Since we shot this, I've auditioned for a couple of shows. I auditioned for a Hallmark movie that was filming in Memphis.
My mom loves those.
As a wedding shop owner, I didn't get it, but I've shot 2 commercials. I'm auditioning for another commercial next week, and my agent does still send me on auditions, but no other movies for a little while. So we're kind of waiting to see how it goes.
Yeah,
I have some things coming out this year that I've already shot, but that we'll wait and see. Other than that,
because I know that you're in Stranger Things, but you're like one of the guys with the hazmat suits over your head.
Yeah, so. I'm a hazmat guy in Stranger Things, and I have a movie called Just Mercy that's coming out. That'll be rolling out later, and then I have a short film called The Last Bag that'll be coming out later this year as well.
Yes. Also, can I just say, part of the reason I did this was because I love video games so much, and there's not a ton of video game adaptations out there that are good. A lot of movies are bad, but Detective Pikachu was well received, so I hope they make more. In fact, they said that they're going to try to, that PlayStation is like been bought, so they're going to try and make like a Last of Us movie, or Horizon Zero Dawn movie, or a God of War movie, which, can I just say, if they make a God of War movie and the kid from the game, Sonny Suljic, is not available, I hope they cast Ashton. Ashton would make a great Atreus. He would. And then you get to show off his stunts. So, but outside of that, I don't really know what else there is to. Okay, Robbie's Needed Bookstop says, "Hi, I'm from Los Angeles. Good for you. Greetings from Los Angeles."
Hi, Robbie.
Okay. I guess it's time to sign off, unless anyone has anything to add.
I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your movie. I appreciate it. It was an honor to work with you, and an honor to work with Ashton. And I'm going to be enjoying watching Ashton's career go, both from martial arts and from the entertainment industry.
Thank you.
Yes. Do you have anything to say?
I just appreciate you sitting me on this movie.
The camera on. Oh, it is on him. Oh. Okay. Well. Yeah.
Awesome Hair says they love the movie.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you so much for being a part of this. I really could not imagine a better Chris and Charles than the two of you. I'm very, very grateful that this happened. I hope you have good careers, and if I ask you to work again, I hope you say yes. So.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're awesome.
All right. Thank you all. Enjoy the movie and spread the word.
Yes. Thank you very much.